Today, we'll be following Major League Fishing pro Edwin Evers as he breaks down a body of water. The lake that he is fishing sets up kind of like a highland reservoir and has a ton of rock banks and points, rock transitions, wood laydowns, creek arms, and hundreds of docks to fish. The water temperature is between 54 and 57 degrees. The water clarity is between 1 and 4 foot depending on where you are on the lake. And today, Edwin is dealing with a lot of wind, with gusts up to 70 miles per hour.
There's one. Big one. There's a big one. You actually feel and hear the difference. Like if you do it right up next to the boat and the wind's not blowing, you can hear the blades. It's amazing. There's one. That's a good one.
Now, real quick, before we really get into kind of this masterclass of spinnerbait fishing with Edwin Evers, I had a favor to ask you guys. You know, I was able to go out to Oklahoma and film with Edwin Evers, who is one of the best bass fishermen in the world, like has won Angler of the Year titles, Bassmaster Classics. Like he is one of the best bass fishermen in the world, and he did not charge me a dime. And as a matter of fact, he even let me stay in his house for free. So I really just kind of wanted to show him some love, like at some capacity. So I'm like, hey, can I at least promote your business on the channel? And he was like, if you want to do that, go ahead. But he didn't ask me to do it. I thought it was just really awesome. And so guys, if you guys didn't know this, Edwin actually has a pecan farm, like has thousands of pecan trees. And if he's not fishing, you can probably find him on a tractor. He's a very hard-working individual. And I'm going to let you guys know right off the bat, these pecans are the best that I've ever had in my entire life. And the true, like how I know that this is true is because my wife is a very picky eater, and she has been absolutely dominating. This is her favorite, the all things chocolate pecans. Like she loves these things to death, and we have been eating them. And I actually asked Edwin, I'm like, hey, can I create a coupon code to use on your store? He was like, absolutely. So right now, guys, if you use the coupon code BFHQ10 throughout the end of the year, you can get 10% off any order. And I'm telling you what, these things are perfect for a stocking stuffer, a gift. They're just perfect to eat kind of during this Thanksgiving to, you know, Christmas time period. So I'm going to leave some links down below. Use that coupon, pick up some of the best pecans that you will ever have. I can guarantee that you will like them. I can guarantee your kids will like them. I can guarantee your wife, whatever it may be, they're going to love them. So anyways, thank you guys for all the support. Check out Edwin Evers' website. I'll have it linked down below.
All right, the scenario today, guys, we've got 56-degree water. The water has come up 3.5 feet in the last 7 days, and now within the last 2 days, fallen a foot. We're presented with a full moon, and we are on a body of water that's, I'd say it's like a highland reservoir. Lots of rock, no grass, a lot of boat docks, you know, a lot of transition stuff. Haven't been out here in a long time, well, since last year. So we're gonna get out here, try to figure these fish out. It's been really tough. There's a huge shad die-off, you know, just 4 or 5 days ago, like really, really cold conditions, and it's warmed up rapidly. So really don't know what stage these fish are gonna be in, where they're at. You know, that's my scenario. That's what I'm presented with today. Hopefully I can get something figured out.
Now, before Edwin got to the lake, he knew that the wind was going to be pretty strong. So he looked at a map and tried to find a single creek arm that would give him a lot of options to fish and also keep him protected from the wind. Edwin really didn't know if the fish were going to be closer to their wintering areas or their spawning areas because the recent weather had gone from super cold to super warm in a matter of a few days. Now, after looking at the map, he decided to look at this one creek arm because he knew it would allow him to fish both wintering areas and spawning areas and really everything in between.
You know, you have two options when you're going out for the first time on a body of water. You can either start all the way in the back, or you can start out at the mouth, you know, and I chose right here. I've got a big bluff. It transitions from bluff to chunk rock to pea gravel. You know, I feel like those fish winter out here and transition into this pocket to spawn. So I chose to start on the outside. We're gonna work our way back into this pocket and see what happens. I think it's a good idea to parallel these banks. You know, when you got something this steep, it just makes no sense to cast straight out at it. You know, and if you got somebody in the boat with you, you know, just try to position your boat at enough an angle they can cast kind of forward also, but you're just much more efficient casting, you know, parallel to these steeper banks.
Edwin's game plan was simple. He was going to make his way from the mouth of the creek to the very back of the creek, and he was going to fish everything that came across his path. He used a variety of lures to cover water, including spinnerbaits, crankbaits, swim baits, and jigs.
Oh, I had a bite on a cross beam, Man, I was just sitting here thinking, it's been a long time since they've gotten on cross beams. You can see that water, that leaf level up there, how it was higher. Those leaves won't be there by the end of the day today. If I was a bass, I'd sit underneath that dock. Those big fish should be, I mean, generally speaking on a lake like this, those big females will suspend right underneath these docks or the back sides of these docks right before they spawn. Like it's where they should be. Water's cleaner than I realized it. Now that the sun's getting up, it's pretty clean. Oh, dog it. We had a bite, buddy. We had a bite. He didn't get it, but he thumped it right off top of that laydown. Real cold shad. All right, so we've gotten a bite. And like we said, we started at the mouth of this pocket. We're pretty far back in here now. That fish was up high in the water column. I had a bite on that spinnerbait off a dock that would have been high in the water column. I kind of expect that just with the sun that we've had all week, the warmer water, you know, going from really cold to warm, those fish are going to come up and try to warm up. I know we hadn't caught one yet, but we're getting closer. Well, you must not be allowed to put boat ramps in here because there's just not very many boat ramps. You go to the Carolinas, there's boat ramps on every house has their own boat ramp. Thinking maybe them willow trees have enough water on them. I don't know. We're going to get bit somewhere. If I can just figure out what they'll bite. Maybe it's going to happen right there. I won't be upset if it happens before there in here. There's one. Biggin. Golly, that fish flushed that spinnerbait. That's how you want to get a bite, give you some confidence right there. Yes! Look at that fat sow. Awesome. All right. I just got done saying, if we're gonna get bit, it's gonna be right there. So we started all the way out at the mouth, worked our way back. Water's gotten a little bit warmer. We've had a few bites along the way. I flipped, I've kept the bait on the bottom, I've kept the bait in the middle. And we finally got us a big one. It's a 5. It's a cool fish. Sweet, thank you, girl. Finally get a bite. My seat's off. I have water all in my seat, so now my butt's wet. Get me all excited, my rod. I better retie, I hadn't retied. So, you know, one thing that I tried to establish do they want something on the bottom? Like we flipped a jig a bunch behind these docks, or something up, you know, and that's our third bite. Finally caught one, and all 3 of those bites have been up. So to me, that tells me, keep a moving bait in my hands. I don't have to slow down and pick this stuff apart yet. You know, that's coming in the next couple of weeks when these fish start spawning. So I'm gonna keep throwing a spinnerbait right now. There's another one. Man, when you find them, you find them. Yeah. Chunky bass. Sweet. Sweet. I love it. I love it. It's a great thing about that spinnerbait. I don't mean to brag on it, but I'm going to brag on it. Look how long that hook is. I never have to use a trailer hook with it. You know, in the spring when things are cold, you know, the trailer hook's a lot, but I'm throwing in some pretty heavy cover there. Trailer hook gets caught up a lot. We extended the shank of that, which makes it a great spinnerbait.
Now, after catching these first 2 bass, Edwin realized that these fish came out of a dredged out pocket. These are areas on the lake where homeowners have dug into the lake bottom, making these pockets a little bit deeper than the other natural pockets on the lake. To Edwin, this made a lot of sense because these areas are where bass can spawn, but they don't have to worry about the water fluctuating. There's enough deep water in a dredged out pocket for bass to continue spawning even if the water drops by a foot, which can give the bass a lot of reassurance in ever-changing weather conditions.
They're really special blades. You know, a lot of companies on a spinnerbait, they just buy mass-produced blades. We built these from the ground up. Very, very unique sound. So they're a flatter, thinner material, and when you reel one in, if you've thrown a spinnerbait, you actually feel and hear the difference. Like if you do it right up next to the boat and the wind's not blowing, you can hear the blades. It's amazing. I say that and then people are like, yeah, whatever. And then when they tie one on, they're like, oh yeah, you really can. It's a very special spinnerbait. I love throwing a spinnerbait. It is something, just that bite and the single hook and leaning on them hard. It's almost as good as flipping and top watering and frogging and all the other great ways to catch a bass. Yeah. Those little dredge deals, like there's a bunch of them down that side. We're gonna catch some more over there. It's just a little steep, you know, and the water can fall, yet they still feel good about spawning, you know, versus the super flat stuff. They've dredged these little deals out. It's kind of why I said I think we're gonna catch one right there. It just had that brush. We just seen a whole bunch of bait. I just want to duplicate it. I want to be able to say, oh, here's going to be another bite. Is it wood related or is it depth related? Is it, you know, were those fish there? You know, one of them I felt like came off the corner of the dock. The other one came down the side of the dock, but there was also wood. So in my mind, I'm like trying to figure out the next piece of that puzzle. What is the next thing? Like we just fished a really good laydown right there. I thought I would have got bit on if it was wood related. Got a couple old rails coming in right here that, you know, so I'm just trying to figure out what was it where we had those bites. As I blow this dock out, so we're not going to get a bite on it. And I got a guy walking down on the next dock, so probably not going to get a bite on it. I wish I'd have fished that dock there. It has that leaning deal in there. But I was focused on the stuff up in front, so I didn't fish it.
Now, after Edwin fished a few more dredged out pockets without any success, he didn't want to rule anything out quite yet. So he decided to make his way to the very back of this creek arm, and he wanted to fish as shallow as he could to make sure that bass hadn't made their way all the way to the back. At this point, he was still fishing with a very open mind and giving himself every opportunity to dial in exactly what the bass were doing.
Get 2 bites back to back, thinking you got it figured out, and then boom, you don't get another one. I'm gonna look at Google Earth. I've never been in this creek back here. I'm gonna look at Google Earth right quick. What do you think that is right there? See that mound? I mean, that's man-made mound of dirt. An old road or something? I don't know, you know, I'm just asking. So the main creek goes to the left. There's a little secondary creek goes to the right. I know this really doesn't fit our pattern, but I kind of want to go back here.
Edwin proceeded to fish the back of the pocket, and then after we had to sit under a dock while a thunderstorm passed, he decided to fish a few more dredged out pockets before making any large movements to other places within this creek.
I'm not liking my spinnerbait anymore, as clear as it is. You know there's a fish in here. And I felt like there was a fish there and I just didn't catch him. A lot of bait blown in here. There's a big one. Golly, that's a good one. Yeah. Woo! I like it when a plan comes together. That spinnerbait is out of sight. Yes. Another big old chunky bass. I switched over to that red one. It just got clear. I don't know, there's something about red and clearer water. I like it, I like it, I like it. So here's what I figured out. Steeper banks, and it just makes sense. You got to think about the spawn, you know, and right here's a prime example. Super flat bank, they're dropping the water. Those fish, they want to be somewhere that they've got a little protection, a little, you know, if they spawn on something steep, there's deep water really close by. You know, they can slide off there, kind of protect those eggs. So steeper banks, and that's, you know, right there in that corner. It goes from flat to steep. It goes from mud to rock. I mean, there's a lot happens in that corner. It's a little transition, so I'm feeling pretty good. We're getting some bites. It's fun. I mean, that fish just flushed it, just like, it's just like somebody cut my line. Just like, oh, there's nothing in it. It's just a cool bite. Everybody that knows what I'm talking about, like, knows what I'm talking about. It was a cool bite. I thought it was a lot bigger than that when he ate, but I mean, it's still probably like a 3.5 pounder. Shatter thick. There's one in here. He's going to be on that tree hanging down. Shallow though. It's only 2.5 feet.
After catching this third good bass, Edwin really felt strong about fishing dredged out pockets. He felt as if he could run this pattern all across the lake if he wanted to. However, the wind was starting to really pick up, and it was not the day for running around the lake. So he decided to fish a few more of these pockets that were left in the creek to see if he couldn't land a 5 bass limit.
This one should have one in it. I mean, it's the best one. a good one. Man, that doesn't get old catching them on a spinnerbait. That's a big old spot. Look at that. Yeah. Fat one. It's like a 2 1/4, 2.5 pound spot. Man, same deal. We just got in another one of them pockets that are dredged out and wind blowing in and throwing a spinnerbait. It doesn't get much better. If I die and go to heaven, I'm happy. I'm a happy man right there getting to throw my spinnerbait. We might catch another one right in there. We're really kind of presented with some pretty challenging conditions today. If you notice, I'm wet because I didn't do a very good job boat driving, and we have gusts 50 to 70 miles an hour, sustained wind 25 to 35 today. And it started right at 10 o'clock like they said, and it's blowing, like blowing. Not making any excuses, you know, we had a good day. We got 4 really good fish. We figured out they were in the back halves of those steeper pockets. I would have liked to keep doing it, but I just can't run around. The lake's like, it's bad, like really blowing. But my spinnerbait setup, you know, I had 2 different spinnerbaits. I used this white chartreuse and blue one. To me, I've got more confidence in that bait when it's muddy or low light conditions. It's a tandem willow, silver gold, 1/2 ounce, standard size. We make 2 different sizes. We have a compact version. The compact version has narrower blades, where these are more of a thumping style blade. And then when I got in that cleaner water, I was really experimenting with this red one, man, and they choked it, like really ate it good. Same 1/2 ounce tandem willow, just that red one. Those are Berkeley power blades. The rod setup I got is a Johnny Moore 7'1", medium heavy, Platinum Signature Series is what they call it. And it's the same Johnny Moore Signature Series reel. Gear ratio is kind of important, 6:8 to 1. I don't want like an 8 to 3 gear ratio reel. You can't wind it slow enough. And I think it was really important just having the right speed, the right cadence, you know, not really being on the bottom, wanted to be up off the bottom a little bit, but we had figured out those fish were kind of up in the water column. We did some flipping with a jig and never had a bite. You know, if I was to come out tomorrow, I like the pattern. Like I would just continue it a little bit. I would probably change over to that flat-sided crankbait when I got in cleaner water. I've got a little bit more confidence in it. Or that coal shad. That coal shad would really be a player. We had a bite on it today, but I would just keep running more of the same kind of stuff. It is changing so fast. That water has gone from super cold to warm like overnight. So just a matter of covering water, getting in those areas where those fish have moved up.
Now, just like any true bass fisherman, right when we were about to leave, Edwin saw a laydown that he couldn't resist it. And so he went ahead, went over to that laydown and literally picked up a spinnerbait for about 5 casts and caught this really nice, about 3.5 pound bass. So he ended up catching a 5 bass limit somewhere between about 17 and 18 pounds. And he did this in a matter of about 4 hours. I can't lie, this was one of the funnest days that I have had on the water, even though I didn't pick up a fishing rod myself. Really watching Edwin be very precise with his casting and just picking everything apart. He is a true specialist and a really good angler with a spinnerbait in his hand. Now, this whole series is the Pros Find 'Em series, and I have other video, well, really just one other video, but I'm going to keep putting these out that are on this channel. So if you guys want to watch the other one that I did with Hunter Shyrock, you can actually watch it right here. So it's really all about learning from some of the best anglers in the world. Also, don't forget to check out Edwin's Pecans. I'm telling you, you will not regret it.